Today, we upgrade our visibility by installing a backup camera to our stock radio. Nope. Yep.
Dibs.
Just to add a quick update, the truck still has its beloved parasitic draw. Unfortunately, the TIPM didn't fix the issue, but we have something else in store in an upcoming video, so stay tuned. However, today we'll be installing this, a truck tailgate handle backup kit from infotainment.com. And the best thing is that it completely works on your stock RAM radio. Yes, even this small one. There are a couple different options, the genuine Mopar one and this one, the aftermarket OE style, which, according to Camera Source, where this originates from, has better picture quality than stock. The only thing it lacks over the genuine Mopar part is the dynamic grid lines. But who needs those? And this beefy harness is where the magic happens. It intercepts the factory plug and merges in the signal from the camera. Keep in mind that the radio will still think it has a stock camera. We're just negating the need to fish around and repin harnesses and such. Infotainment has a great installation video, which I'll link to here and in the description below. This is not a replacement video, but just my experience because, well, you know, things happen when I do these projects and I want to share my mishaps just in case they help you along faster when you get stuck. First, we'll start at the back and get this handle installed. We'll remove this access panel so we can gain access to the handle mechanism. Inside here, we'll unlatch the red plastic locks for the latch release rods. This one is a little stubborn, so I'm going to use this thicker glove so I can press harder to get it to release. There we go. Now we'll release the wiring harness. It'd be best if we could remove it from the tailgate so we could unlatch it easier. I found that sliding the harness this way releases it from the sheet metal, and now we can easily press the lock and unplug it. The lock is on the other side of the plug. Why do all of these work differently? We'll go ahead and remove the latch by removing these two nuts. And we'll just move this aside for now. The handle should come right out. I'm having to kind of work it around a bit. There we go, got it. Let's go ahead and swap out the lock from the old handle to our new one. My truck is a few years old now, so this lock is dirty and could use some lubrication. While we have it out, I'm going to spray a bit of this lock lube in it to help freshen it up, and then we'll install it in our new handle. There we go. Doesn't this just look swell? Let's prepare to install the release mechanism back into place on our new handle. And of course, I dropped one of the nuts. Ugh. Where on earth did it go? Found it! These magnetic wands are awesome. Okay, back to tightening these down. Ugh. Got it again. Let's go ahead and plug this harness back in. And then we'll slide it back into the plastic mount to hold it against the sheet metal. And then we'll go ahead and lock these rods back into place. And there. Now we'll start routing the wires safely around all these moving parts and back towards the bottom of the tailgate. We're going to follow the factory wiring harness for now. I'm having trouble feeding this into the bottom of the tailgate because my hands are a little too big. So I'm going to tape it to the end of my magnetic tool and fish it on down to the bottom. Now we'll go back and carefully attach our new wiring to the factory wiring with some of these zip ties. Let's go back to the other end and feed this into the body of the truck bed. Hey look, there's a hole that will work just perfectly. Before we continue, let's make sure the tailgate operates correctly. And here we have our first issue. The tailgate is not latching properly. Now don't freak out, it's okay. This is why we're testing it before we move on. Upon inspection here, I can see that the latch is not returning properly. I'm not exactly sure why this is yet, but let's loosen the two retaining nuts and release the rods. This latch is returning fine on its own. Now let's reattach the rods one at a time and ensure each is not binding. Okay, this one is working fine now. Now we'll reattach the other side and test. Yes, much better. And then we'll retighten the two nuts. Let's close the tailgate to ensure it's still working. Everything seems to be catching and releasing fine. I think we've got it. Now let's continue running this wire loom through the back. It's hard to see here, but what we'll do is run this along the original tailgate wiring. That way, the plug to our new camera will be at the same spot as the factory tailgate plug. And we'll plug in the long wiring loom to the end and we'll start running that. Update, progress is being made. I've carefully attached this along the same factory wiring. I'm going to continue to work my way backwards. And I can say this is going to take a while.
Begin montage.
I'm putting in quite a few zip ties for two reasons. One, I want this to stay as close as possible to the factory harness, and two, I want redundancy in case any of these fail over time. Working our way now towards the front. I'm going to use the same recommendation of the installer from infotainment.com. He suggests running it along the emergency brake line and into the cab from there. It seems like a logical choice, so let's remove this trim piece and see what it looks like from the top. Sorry about the mess. Montana winters. It'll be cleaned up real nice real soon. Start a new hole in here with a screwdriver to see if this will work. But there's no way this will go through unless we take out some more material. We'll remove the grommet so we can work on this from the top. Let's use this small knife to make a bigger hole. Now we'll work this cable on through. It's tight, but it's gonna seal up quite nicely. Now I have my third hand to help push the grommet back into place from the top. Very good. I may come back and seal this up better at a later stage, but this will work nicely for now. Let's reinstall this trim, and then we'll continue routing the wire loom to the center of the dash. The cable is ready, so now we'll work on the radio removal. There are 2 bolts up here underneath this decorative cover, and then we'll slowly work this off. Mine seems to be stuck pretty well. Slowly, and take your time here. There we go. But now I gotta remove my magnetic phone holder because I can't get this off by the gear shifter. There we go. Let's just remove the wiring for the climate controls. And then we'll remove the 4 bolts holding the radio in place. And this will slide right out. We'll unfasten the clips. Each is secured differently. For the camera power, this new approach jacks into the power outlet with a nice interception harness. Let's get this unclipped and then we'll plug in the new harness.
Click.
And I'm really not a fan of crimping anything, but these camera power wires are so dang small we'll make an exception. Let's use our 25-year-old discount bin crimper.
Crimp.
Using this new beefy wiring harness, we'll first fasten in the video feed. Obviously, there is no feed from the vehicle coming in from the source, so we'll plug in the wiring from the long cable we just ran from the camera installed on the back. First, we have to cut the sealed yellow connection open and then attach our camera cable. But let's tape this together with some electrical tape so it doesn't accidentally come disconnected. Now we'll plug in the beefy harness first to the truck, and then to the back of the radio. There we go. Now let's carefully tuck these wires back in and reinstall the radio. Now before we get too excited, let's first test everything out before final assembly. However, just for demonstration purposes, note that there still is no image from our camera when we put the vehicle in reverse. For that, we need to update the radio software. For my kit, I opted for this neat little programmer from OBDII. It will save me time from having to take this out to the dealer to have it programmed. With the vehicle on, or the key in the run position, plug it into the OBDII port. The blue light indicates power and programming, and holy honky tonk, Batman! The horn blasts to let us know it's complete, also indicated by this green light. There we go. Now let's test the camera again. Put it in reverse and... Wait, what on earth?
Orbit!
Okay, well, it's working properly, I think. So let's go ahead and begin final assembly. Look at this. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Let's test it in real life by hitching up to a trailer. Yeah! First try. Let's go out and confirm. Yes, we have positive ballage. Awesome. What a joy. However, the screen is a bit pixely because the radio doesn't have the best display. But hey, here's proof it'll work with the RA2 with the 5-inch display. And here we are in a parking lot on a rainy day backing into a space. Yes, this works quite nicely, although I'm a bit better doing this without the camera. Well, now I can look sleek as I back up the truck and hitch up on the first try. Not to mention it's a huge safety factor, especially if there are little squatches running around. Truck manufacturers, if you're listening, please make this a standard feature of all your trucks that have capable radios. Not only will this greatly increase customer satisfaction, but it will also save lives. And at such a cheap cost, I'm sure the consumer will pay a couple extra bucks for this. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider giving us a thumbs up. And as always, stay tuned, my Squatchologists, and we'll see you next time. Yeah!